Topic number 7. Rules and regulations governing the handling communicable animal disease. Animal Industry Administrative Order Number 5. Subject: Rules and regulations governing the handling of dangerous communicable animal disease, the inter-provincial movement of animal, and the use of anthrax, prenderpest, serum, and vaccine and other biological products in the control, diagnosis, and treatment of anthrax and prenderpest. Pursuant to the provision of Section 1765 of the Revised Administrative Code as amended by Act No. 3639 and Act No. 3119 and No. 3166, the following rules and regulations are hereby promulgated for the information and guidance of all concerned. Public Act No. 3639, an act creating the Bureau of Animal Industry, defining its powers and functions, providing for its personnel, making appropriation for its organization and operation, changing the name of the Bureau of Agriculture to Bureau of Plant Industry and other purposes. Article 1, Section 1. This order shall be known as the Animal Disease Control Rules and Regulations. Article 2, Section 2. For the purpose of title order, the following words, phrases, names, and terms herein used shall be construed to mean as follows, just like veterinarian, livestock inspector, person, animals, large animal and small animals, dangerous communicable animal diseases, positive case, suspect, carrier, reactor, vaccinate, herd, negative herd, positive herd, and suspect herd, branding or marking, and an incurable disease. When we say large animals, these refer to horses, cattle, carabaos, buffaloes, tamarows, and other domesticated equine and bovine families. And when we say small animals, these refer to sheep, goats, swine, birds, fowls, poultry, cats, dog, deer, and those intended for diagnostic and experimental purposes, just like hamster, rabbits, guinea pigs, and mice. Article 3. From the standpoint of disease control work, two classes of dangerous communicable animal disease to be considered are the enzootic and exotic disease. Section 3 tackles about the enzootic disease. These are diseases that are already prevailed in this country, either indigenous or exogenous. Section 4 tackles about the exotic disease, those known to be existed already in the country, in the other country, which are likely to be introduced here locally. Article 4. The sole quarantine, prevention and control of any communicable animal disease. Section 5. Reporting and investigation of disease. Section 6. Handling suspect and exposed animals. Section 7. Quarantine power, the direction of animal industry and his duty authorized representatives. And this article tackles about the importance of quarantine and why do animals need to be quarantined. First is quarantine is a rule of preventing the spread of serious pathogens. So quarantine limits the animal's contact with other animals and people, reducing exposure. And if the animal are involved with, example, with rabies, quarantine allows veterinarian and health officials to observe the animal for any signs and symptoms associated with rabies virus. And Section 8 is the vigilance and surveillance of animals and infected and adjoining barrios. So this focus on the barrio. Section 9, the construction and isolation corral and its management. Section 10 is the use of animals in quarantine areas. Section 11, the insurance of work passes, especially in case and render pest of foot and mouth disease. And Section 12 is the notification and of officials in the neighboring province. So, importante ang communication and notification para ma-prevent ang pag-spread sa such disease nga makakuan sa inyong farm, maka-trigger o threat sa inyong farm. So, next is Section 13, quarantine of highways. Next is Section 14, the weekly reports. So, why do we need to report animal diseases? So, animal disease reports are essential to identify outbreaks or disease trends and new diseases. This information is used to educate veterinarians and physicians and others to help protect the health of animals and people. So, the following data shall be given. So, first is the names of various where cases or deaths occurred. So, example, abi sa Taiwan. So, i-quarantine na dira ilaha kay kuan kini para di na maapektuhan ng uban niya mga places sa Bayawan City. Then, next is the number of cases and deaths on each barrio. Then, the number of animals of a species exposed and the behavior of animals, the condition of animals, the conspicuous symptoms of the disease such as kanang magluya na, maghilanat, dili na ganahan mukaon, mag-igit, mga ingon ana siya nga mga symptoms. Dayon, the average number of days that animals were sick before death occurred. So, pila siya ka, mga 1 week abi na kinanglan siya ibutan sa data. Then, the marks and other identifications just like may mga rashes abi siya, mga lagom-lagom or mga samad-samad yung dugay maayo dayon. The name and resistance of the owners. So importante gid ang owner para ma-identify nimo din, ma-interview gini mo siya kuan gid kini face to face dayon. Whether the sick animal are being or have been kept in isolation or what if ilahara dito gibabasag daan na dito nila so ang uban ato maybe madaot pod o magtakod-takod. So, kinahanglan makabalo ka kung kinsa ang mga natapad atong animal. Then, Section 15 is the position of carcasses. Section 16, the use of the skin and horns and other parts of the deceased animals are prohibited. So, di ka na siya pwede. Section 17 is unlawful traffics. Section 18 is the termination of quarantine. Next is Section 19 is the branding of animals found infected. So, next is Section 20, the interprovincial movement of large and small animals. So, this kuan about sa municipality, sa mga district. Next is Section 21, the disposition of reactors and the procedure control regarding the dangerous communicable animal disease. Section 22 for positive cases of glanders. So, glandur is the contagious disease caused by bacteria. Glanders is primarily a disease infecting horses, and it is also affect the donkeys and mules and can be naturally contracted by other mammals such as goats, dogs, and cats. So, Section 23 in case of reactors of brucellosis in cattle. The following measures should be adopted. Reactors should be segregated. The farm and animals therein shall be placed under quarantine. Compulsory vaccination of calves. All calves vaccinated should be tagged. No milk coming from brucellosis-infected farm shall be sold. And all bulls and positive brucellosis should be sent to slaughterhouse. Dayon, the reactor should be retested 30 days after the determined condition. Dayon, Section 24, in case of brucellosis reaction in swine, all hogs found positive for swine brucellosis should be slaughtered within 5 days. 27 is the prosecution and penalties. So, when we say prosecution, it is a legal party responsible for presenting the case in a criminal trials or against individuals accused or breaking the law. So, kung sa animals pa, the kuan kining suspect, ang suspect ang iyahay kuan. Next are penalty. So, ingon tag penalties, this refers to the punishment or retribution. So, next is the Section 28 or the repealing provisions and effectivity. To repeal something or usually a law, ordinance, or public policy, it is to take it back. Example, abi sa mga dog lovers, mapuan na sila og mga council nga para matreat nimo maayo imong dog, so naa ka may limit nga dili mo moabot og 4 dogs para mas ma-treat ganin ninyo og maayo. So parehas na siya sa disease. kinahanglan nimo i-repeal